I'm about to share with you 5 performance max campaign optimization tips that will help explode your sales to the next level. All of these work extremely well right now, regardless of the niche or industry your e-commerce brand in. So if you have been looking for that special tip or that one approach that'll make your brand leap to the next level, you'll probably find it here. So make sure to watch until the end. But with that, let's start off with the first tip, and that is utilizing search themes. Now, search themes, for those of you that don't know, was something new that Google has just recently introduced more towards the later portion of 2023. The way search themes works is fairly simple. You're supposed to simply go into one of your major performance max campaigns or start a brand new performance max campaign, and then from the asset group section, you need to click brand new asset group, because only a new asset group can have those search themes created. Once you go here, go ahead and scroll all the way down to under signals, and this is where you'll be able to find search themes. Now, the beauty of search themes is you can literally target some of your major keywords which you may have not incorporated within your product titles, within your product landing pages, so on and so forth. And this search theme feature will actually help rank your products for those given keywords. It's literally as simple as typing in whatever keyword you wish to target, which is already not targeted yet. So for example, it could be something like best 3D printer if that's something you sell, or it could be something as simple as buy 3D printer online or buy 3D printer offline. Whatever has already gotten you results, or if it hasn't gotten you results, whatever is as closely relevant to your product as possible. And the key thing you want to understand here is you don't want to just run a search theme based asset group on its own. And the search theme based asset group should always be getting tested side by side with a normal asset group where there is no search theme at all. And this is because with search themes, it's a fairly new feature and we don't know what the perfect search themes would be for your brand or what the ideal approach for that is. That now brings us to the second tip on the list, which is testing a minimum of 3 asset groups per performance max campaign. Now, you want to take more of a holistic approach to the asset group section where you slowly introduce multiple different variations for the asset groups to get tested. You need to figure out exactly what is the right approach for your brand. And the way we have kind of been doing it for a majority of the brands under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing, which by the way, if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue, you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level. Go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But we have been essentially incorporating 3 different asset groups in the following manner. One asset group is where there's no assets and no signals. The second asset group is one with assets but with no signals, and then the third and final asset group is one with no images, logos, headlines, etc. So essentially no assets but something called super signals, where you have some of the best high-level signals getting targeted. This gives Google the ability to test different things with the asset groups, and now you can actually see for yourself whether the images, logos, headlines work better, or whether it's the asset group with no images, logos, headlines that works better, or whether it's the super signals that works better. But that brings us to the third tip on the list, which is optimizing more for new customer acquisition. Now, with performance max campaigns, you want to understand that 9 out of 10 times it's going to prefer to showcase the ads for retargeting audiences, for hot traffic and warm traffic instead of cold traffic. If it does not target hot traffic and warm traffic, it's going to have a difficult time actually getting positive results on a long-term basis, which is why it actually goes after retargeting audiences anytime the campaign starts to underperform, or maybe it's not even performing to begin with. That's why you see the ROAS really jump through the roof right in the beginning once you launch a brand new PMax campaign. To avoid this, you want to target more of the newer customers and have a better approach for them via the new customer acquisition settings. And there's actually 2 different solutions for this and the way to have this done. But if we go right over to settings within the performance max campaign, there's an option there where you can check the new customer acquisition. So this is under the customer acquisition section right here. If we just check this box, now we have 2 different options to go after. We can either bid higher for new customers than for existing customers, meaning this performance max campaign will end up being retargeting plus cold traffic, but you're just going to end up bidding a little bit higher for new customers. Or On the other hand, you can choose the second circle, which only goes after new customers. So you no longer even have to worry about retargeting ROAS or retargeting traffic here, because now it's just cold traffic. Ideally, you want to be going after the second option here, but if your account does not have enough data, I do recommend going after this first option. And then when you click edit value right here, instead of setting a very big number, you want to set it like 0.01, so 1 cent essentially, because that's the amount of extra conversion value the campaign will attribute to any customer, which is a new customer versus a retargeting based customer. And this is ideal because you don't want to hyperinflate your conversion value recorded numbers just because it's a brand new customer, but you will have to add an existing customer list for this to actually start working effectively. And I do recommend the first option again if you don't have enough data. But now this brings us to the fourth tip on the list, which is segregating products based on testing. Now, for this approach and for this tip to work, there's one prerequisite you must have. You must already have a performance max campaign or a standard shopping campaign going on where it's only for testing purposes or maybe testing and profitability purposes. Similar to this approach here, where there's one PMax campaign and in the last 30 days it spent $2,200, made back $4,300. Now, the way that this works is fairly simple. Within your product section from your performance max campaign, if you look at the top few sections right here, you'll see that now Google has added 3 different sections. First, it was just products, but now it's brands. And the second one is product types, and some of the other brands out there which we're working with have things like vendor as well, and so on and so forth. But if you now click on this, you have the ability to see exactly whether different brands are performing well or whether different product types are performing well, and you can add in different columns to understand exactly what's working better versus what's not. So for example, if your brand is not really selling different brands per se, different sub brands, but rather has different collections, then within the product type section, you'll be able to understand which type of product really works the best for your brand, whether it's one specific type or whether it's another one, what the conversion value over cost is for these, etc. This is going to tell you right off the bat what's the right approach, whether it's via brands, because if you have different brands and each brand is performing differently, then that's the ideal way to segregate your products out, or whether it's by product types. And if there's different specific product types which are performing better than others, then you want to obviously segregate those into their own performance max campaigns. But this now makes it extremely easy for you to go from the implementation phase to the testing phase to the scaling phase, because Google is single-handedly telling you what's working the best and what you should personally be focused on. And I do recommend this type of segregation strategy versus you just potentially trying to figure it out all on your own. But now that brings us to the final and most important tip on the list, which is the content suitability section. Now, this is a section which you can directly edit within your settings section, but this trick is within the back end, which essentially restructures your entire Google Ads account and directly impacts performance max campaigns with those assets. And the way it works is fairly simple. If we look within the asset group section, if you have a lot of images, logos, headlines, etc. on there, what's going to happen is instead of your PMax campaign going after just the shopping feed only, now it's going to go after YouTube, it's going to go after Gmail, Discovery, Remarketing, Discover, so on and so forth. And what happens is this opens the path to rank and to get shown in a variety of different platforms which you necessarily may not want to be on. Things like phone apps, things like random blog pages, so on and so forth. And the best way to avoid this and the best way to rank only where people will actually go to purchase your product is by going to tools and settings and to the last option right here, content suitability under setup. If you go ahead and click on that, this little thing will pop up, which is the inventory type. But if you scroll down, there's a lot of advanced options which you can change. Now, standard inventory is the best one to choose because it just goes after the main placements and platforms instead of going after way too much with expanded or with barely anything with limited. But from there, you want to go down to the excluded sensitive content type. You want to choose all of these if your products don't land under any of these, because it's just a way to save that extra budget from getting wasted. If you don't have these checked, again, Google will do its best to spend your money on these just to test it, and most likely it's not going to work. But if you also scroll down here, excluded types and labels, there's other things you don't want to be ranking on, things such as live streaming YouTube videos, embedded YouTube videos below the fold, display only, parked domains, because these things, again, waste of money. Nobody's really going to be going on these things to purchase your products. And you can also go further and add whatever is ideal for your brand in terms of the settings. But you can further go into excluded placements and also start excluding placements, things such as apps or things such as app categories, certain apps from here. Like you can go one by one checking all of these. Whatever just doesn't make sense for your brand. And believe it or not, majority of these app categories don't make sense at all. And if you check within the report section, you will end up finding out that they're actually big budget wasters. But basically, the best way to scale your Performance Max campaigns, and especially if you have assets, is by the content suitability section, by just ensuring there is not a lot of wasted budget going on. But if you're doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue and you need just a little bit of extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But although these 5 PMax campaign optimization tips are enough to really help you make your PMax campaigns better, they're not enough. I do recommend you check out this video on my newest Performance Max campaign strategies for 2023 and 2024, which can, if you combine with these 5 tips, help you scale your brand to the next level.